Hello and welcome to another Kivu Coffee Break. My name is Sarah Grace Houston and joining me today is Tess Frieswick from our Managed Services team stationed in our Washington, D.C. office. We've talked about before on the coffee breaks about how knowledge is power. And a great way to threat actors in their attempts to breach or infiltrate your network is to understand their common exploitation methods. We call these attack vectors. Tess, could you explain to our viewers some of the main attack vectors we see utilized by threat actors?
Sure thing. So first off, there's brute forcing. This is when an attacker relentlessly attempts to determine passwords or access encrypted data by trying numerous passwords until one works. This method exploits weak login credentials or weak encryption methods. One of the most well-known attack vectors is phishing. Phishing utilizes social engineering to exploit the human element of security. Attackers lure users into clicking malicious links or giving up personal data. Their ploys are getting more and more sophisticated, gaining more and more victims, so attackers continue to rely on this method. There's also zero-day vulnerabilities. These are vulnerabilities that remain unknown in an environment until a breach happens. An attack exploiting this vulnerability before a developer can patch it is known as a zero-day attack. For example, one from Apple that was recently made public was the memory corruption bug in the iOS kernel that would give attackers remote access to the entire device when one connected to public Wi-Fi.
Wow, glad they caught that one. Are there any lesser known methods?
Sure, we can share a couple examples. There's the session hijacking and man-in-the-middle attacks, where a logon cookie or public Wi-Fi connection is intercepted by an attacker to gain access to sensitive information or redirect network traffic. Then there are attacks like SQL injections or cross-site scripting, where malicious code is injected in an SQL database or website, respectively, to impact users and possibly gain access to sensitive information. And finally, there's general malware. Malware comes in many forms and includes ransomware, Trojans, and viruses that are pushed out through any of the breach methods previously mentioned. So it's important to have proper anti-malware software installed and to educate users on what to look out for.
So now that we know the most common breach methods, how do we prevent against these infiltrations?
Great question. So the key thing is to stay ahead of the bad guys and understanding your environment's vulnerabilities. Knowing the possible ways your defenses can be breached and putting in place the proper protections. Make sure you have strong passwords, proper antivirus software, endpoint detection, employee awareness training, etc.
Well, thank you, Tess, for joining us this afternoon and your great insight. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in. If you have any questions regarding threat actor attack vectors, be sure to leave a question in the comments below. And as always, please feel free to reach out to the Kivu team if you have any questions or any security concerns. See you all next coffee break.